Hi, thanks for joining me today. Are you struggling with how to be fair in your stepfamily, especially when there's so many discrepancies? You know, the children all have different other parents, come from different homes, have different expectations. What do you do? I post once a week, so subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell and I'll let you know every time I post. So how can you be fair in a stepfamily? And of course, one of the things you want to be is fair. You think fairness is incredibly important because you know how you felt as a child when things were unfair, and you want there to be an even playing field so that they can get on and not feel jealous of one another or resent one another. So this is quite a problematic situation in stepfamilies because the children are entirely different and yet you're wanting to treat them the same. So one of the things about stepfamilies, one of the huge advantages of being that's said about being in a stepfamily is that it builds resilience in children and it enables the children to grow up and cope with more. They are more resourceful, they can be more flexible, they understand different life situations better, and all of these other things that children brought up in more traditional family settings where they've never been exposed to different ways of doing things or the possibility of different ways of doing things or how hard things can be, never get exposed to. So if we're talking about one of the advantages of stepfamily life being that the children are more robust and aware and educated about how things can be different and have their eyes opened to different ways of doing things, then this can play back into the problem of how to be fair in a stepfamily when things are so unequal. Because things aren't equal. Your stepchildren have a different mother and father to your children, and there will be inequality. But it doesn't mean that one child is better than another. It just means that one child gets a different set of things, has a different amount of money spent on him or her, goes to different places, has different experiences, has different expectations. But one of the things I would implore you to do as an adult in this arrangement is not get hung up on it. Because if you get hung up on how unfair so-and-so is being treated compared to your child, then you will convey that in everything you do and say, including to the child, who can then get upset about it on your behalf. But actually, it is what it is, and you can't change that. You can't suddenly have a ton of money to spend on your child if your partner's other half is spending a ton of money on your stepchild. You can't. So it's much better to live with it and accept what is and work with what is, and that is all right. You can be a wonderfully, fully matured person to have learnt that there's limitations to things. There's not endless amounts of availability, or not everybody can do X, Y, and Z. So my point here is to remember that resilience is a great asset in life. Great. It's often taught in step families, and often it's about having to cope with things being different and not the same. It's important that as an adult in the step family, you don't try and get equivalence, but recognise difference and allow it and live with it and help the child cope with it. And then what we're doing is there are differences. You're going to go to this school, you're going to have that for a birthday present, you're going to go there for a holiday, you're going to do this, do that, and that is okay. So it's about being fair to the children so that you treat them the same, but don't try and get equivalence. So that in a step family, you treat the children the same inside the home, but you allow for difference and recognise it and help the children cope with that. What you can do, but where the difference lies, there's difference. So there's no need when one child is being invited out somewhere to tag your child along necessarily. You need to allow your child to think of something else they'd like to do in the time, but they don't have to go along to everything that your other stepchild does or has. It's just totally different. It's a great lesson to learn, and when we get out into life, it is like that. So there's no better place to start than in a step family to learn that. It's a huge advantage in life. We run workshops, sessions, an email response service, and we write booklets. For links to our website and social media, see the description box below.